Okay, I'm just going to start it up because we are still working with this tighter timeline. The feedback has been positive with this timeline. I think people seem to really like it. So at the end of the webinar, I don't even want to call it a webinar, at the end of the lunch and learn, you will get a link for feedback as always. And if you have any comments, or if you want this to go longer, if you want it to go shorter, please let us know. For our clients, we are going to start up more of a coaching session with specifics. So we're going to keep this lunch and learn in this format, the 15 minutes, trying to give you guys some good takeaway tips, actionable tips that you can get value from immediately. And then just a 15-minute Q&A, not only to answer your questions, but to help shape where this thing goes week over week. If people have questions about one specific topic, we're going to try to cover that for you. And we're doing this every week based on your feedback. We want it to be valuable for you. And like I always say, if it's not, we'll just kill it. So today, we do have new people every week coming in. Don't know how you're finding us, but I like it. So I'll do a quick social selling intro, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our options for content, what we've done with the Slack channel, which has been a slow growth of engagement with that. We really haven't prioritized that, but we've got a couple things that I think are going to be really great for you guys. And then I'm going to talk about something I've just seen a lot of this week, which is just the SEO, the amount of money people are spending on SEO in this environment. We've seen some egregious cases of that. So I'm just going to touch on that. I'm going to talk about how to leverage the BizNexus profile and what we have rolled out for business brokers specifically, but for providers, really anybody who's working with business owners. This is going to be valuable. And then we'll just jump into a Q&A. Who am I? Why should you care? I run BN.Digital. I run BizNexus. I've been involved with deal origination in some form or fashion for the duration of my career. That's evolved through the internet, through COVID, through everything that is digital marketing. So this is an industry that is changing on a monthly basis, quarterly basis when you talk about the tools that work well. So that's been an exciting ride and continues to be, especially as things have changed over the past few months. What is the point of the process that we cover week in, week out here? It's to basically have a targeted approach to bringing your primary prospects. If you're a business coach or a business broker, that's going to be the business owner, whether that's in your geographic area, in your niche. Have they been running a company of a certain size for a certain period of time? Are you trying to weed out certain industries like gas stations, et cetera, et cetera? You want to really nail targeting to start to bring these primary prospects into your networks, right? Your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, social networks. You want to build this and build up the referral prospects who can deliver you that primary prospect in the near term and over the long term. And if you do that and you stay focused with it, the good news is, certainly with business brokerage, a lot of people are not doing this well today. So you can separate yourself from the pack pretty quickly if you do execute on something like this, whether you're working with an agency like BN.Digital, or if you have the time to do some of this yourself, you can certainly make a dent when you're talking about competing against some other B2B services professionals or business brokers who are not engaging with this type of stuff. The end goal of all of these tips and tricks and everything that we talk about is the real world engagement, right? And whether they're ready for that today, obviously right now it's a tough time for getting signed agreements if someone's looking at potentially selling their business and it's in one of these industries that have been getting hit. Sellers especially are a little nervous. Hopefully that really opens up towards the end of the year. But the idea is that you are going to just stay in front of your primary prospect. You're going to nurture them over time. You're going to make them clear on your value proposition. Through the right channels, you're going to hit them with call to actions to get a free consultation, to get a free business valuation, to get the intro phone call. And when they're ready to talk about something like a business valuation or estate planning or selling my company over the next 3 months because something happened, you're first in line. You're staying positioned with your end prospects and referral prospects, so that you will get that in the short term, but then over the long term, this kind of process can really snowball. 5 stages of social selling. Really just starts with bulletproofing your own profile, making sure that your own online reputation is meeting the needs, the pain points of your end prospect, then really getting granular on who that end prospect is and who the referral prospects are who can deliver you that end prospect on an ongoing basis, building up the campaigns, building up the nurturing campaigns, and then, like I said, pulling them hopefully into a real world engagement when the time is right. Tips for marketing in a post-COVID world. We are going to change this up every week now, just according to the things that we've seen. Again, every week I'm talking about awareness marketing. Great time for awareness marketing right now with everything that's going on. Be careful with conversion marketing. I think certainly in certain niches, it's really opened up just over the past month. So focusing on conversion, focusing on a close is much more appropriate today than it was just a month ago in certain channels and in certain areas. But again, especially with LinkedIn, which we talked a lot about here, you want to focus more on value, on really giving the value, establishing your credibility before you make an ask. Sure, a lot of people on this call, on this Lunch and Learn, have had the very aggressive approach on LinkedIn, especially. I think there are a lot of people doing it wrong. So again, a nice opportunity to separate yourself from the pack if you do it right. With your marketing, the key is really consistency. Just keep the message simple, keep it direct, keep it focused on what it is that you want to sell, right? What your value proposition is. Don't be salesy about it. Just convey that in a form of offering value, and be consistent, right? And there are many reasons to do that. We'll continue to go through that throughout these Lunch and Learns. One thing that has come up lately is drop notes. If you're a business broker, a lot of business brokers love drop notes. I'm not against them. I think they're great. They're tough to track. That part I hate. I like to watch conversions. What have we sent out? Who's opening it? Who's replying? What can we tweak? Drop notes don't really offer the ability to do that. So if you're going to do drop notes, I'd say do it like we do in digital marketing. Test, right? Just test and test and test. So do it in small batches, see what's working. If larger companies actually have somebody at the front desk and those drop notes are going up the chain and landing where they need to be, great. If you're spending a bunch of money on drop notes to small businesses that might not even be there, just be careful. So try to test if you're going to do that. And ideally, whatever list you're using, you do have the emails and maybe social URLs, so you can incorporate those people into a larger social selling program. Drop notes on its own, look, everybody does it, but if you can incorporate that into a social selling program, why wouldn't you, right? Why are you just going to roll the dice and send out 1,000 drop notes and then have a telemarketer hope that they're going to catch that business owner at the right time? This is something that if you can incorporate that into your social selling program, you absolutely should. So today I'm going to go through, I did spend more time on that opening than I typically do, so maybe we'll cut some stuff out, but that's the nature of the Lunch and Learn. We kind of keep it fluid. We're going to try to talk about really optimizing and targeting and some nurturing. And I'll start off with some of the new content marketing that we have really been working on and we've been refining. So just, I touched on this last week, but if you go to the agency, BN.Digital, and forgive me, but my internet's a little slow. If you guys have trouble hearing me, just somebody ping me in the chat box so I know. Otherwise, I'll just go on autopilot here. But so you'll see we made some changes to BizNexus and BN.Digital. But this content marketing submission, we've really refined this process. So I think it'd be kind of crazy not to take advantage of it. Basically, as a B2B business services professional or a business intermediary, business broker, you can complete a tailored interview and answer whatever questions you want, right? We're going to take those answers, turning them into a Q&A blog post that looks something like this. and you can do a lot with this, and we can touch on that in later lunch and learns. But we're going to do this, and then not only that, at the end of the submission, you're going to have the opportunity to schedule a 15-minute Zoom video interview, which we will chop up and make pretty and make sure that you look good as a qualified authority. And we're going to put that video right here in the blog post. From there, you can do a lot of things. You can put that on LinkedIn. You can put it in your BizNexus profile. You can boost the content specifically on LinkedIn. So if you have a target business owner prospect, for example, we could do a boost through our company targeting that business owner for you. We can show you how to do it in these lunch and learns, but it's a great strategy for sniping that business owner target on an ongoing basis, really putting that content that establishes you as a qualified authority directly in front of your end prospect. Slack. So we've made some changes. This is something that works really well in other industries, business brokers, to be determined. What we're doing here, we have general where we'll make announcements with content, with training. You can keep your eye on that channel. We're just starting to do some small closed business groups. So if you're part of a franchise and you want to join that franchise closed channel, just let us know. We can help make that happen for you. But we're also going to have closed channels for kind of tribal groups, right? So if you have 5 people who you just want to share with, we'll create a group for you, and only you will be able to see what is in that channel, and you'll still have access to everything else that we're putting out there. You'll still have the opportunity to put in your video practice, your social posting practice, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to join that channel and you haven't yet, we have the link right now. Just right there on our agency page, you can join the Slack community in the drop down under resources at BN.Digital. So pop in if you're not in there yet. SEO. A lot of our clients who initially come to us lately. It's just because of everything that's been happening in the world, and we just happen to be in a pretty good spot for where you'd want to spend your marketing dollars if you're going to in this moment. So prior to this whole pandemic outbreak, a lot of our customers would come to us because they're frustrated with something that they've been engaged with prior, and more often than not, they were spending a lot of money on SEO. SEO is very important. I don't want to send the message that it's not. It's just not the first thing you should be focused on, and it's very dangerous as a business broker if you're ramping up your practice. Oftentimes these SEO specialists will want you to commit to 6 months, a year, and you're going to wind up spending a lot of money. SEO is typically in the thousands if it's going to be effective with a firm that's going to do it on an ongoing basis. So I always talk about doing what's free first, right? Attacking the low-hanging fruit and working your way up. SEO, you can do some of that yourself, especially if you're a business broker. And I think you should. So I'm going to show you a trick to do that for free right now, and hopefully that will at least get the ball rolling for you. But with SEO, you've got to think about: are you trying to just bring in general traffic based on keywords? If you're advertising, are you trying to show cold ads to prospects that fit a cookie cutter type, or are you really like sniping a business owner in a B2B marketing and sales fashion, where you are bringing somebody in who you know is going to be valuable and then touching them across multiple channels, right? I argue that the latter is much more effective, especially for business brokerage, where you're dealing with these very high value prospects. And it's frustrating seeing some of the business brokers who are not doing that, and they wind up engaging with kind of a B2C, business to customer instead of a business to business strategy, and wind up blowing a lot of money and not getting results. So just be careful. Ping me directly if you want to chat about that, or if you have any other questions. So enough rambling, moving on to the actual keyword tutorial. Instead of spending a bunch of money on your SEO, let's just check out my latest favorite free keyword tool, aside from that pop-up, which I don't like. Uber suggest, right? So if we want to say, I don't know, say business valuation, right? We're going to be looking for keyword suggestions, okay? Uber suggest is going to suggest that you sign in. It is free, so I suggest you do that. You have to sign in with Google. Okay, so we've got all of these words. So what is SEO? You want to find the keywords that matter to your business, and then you want to put that in your content, right? If you're talking about a website, you want to make sure all of your pages have the general keywords that are going to make you Google friendly to get found for what you're doing. If you have specific landing pages, you can niche down on those, and you put keywords in those depending on the landing page. But for business brokerage, it's not rocket science. At the base level of SEO, you want keywords around buy a business, business valuation, sell a business, and add your location, right? So if you're in New York, for example, maybe business valuation, New York City, you can go into Uber Suggest and put this in. And with this tool, you will get more results if you pay, just so you know, but it's free. It's totally fine. You can just use this as a free tool. The keyword, right? This is the word that people are going to type into Google. So if somebody is typing business valuation, New York City, that's what this column is going to be. The volume represents the number of searches this particular keyword has during a month, right? So the monthly volume, the monthly searches for business valuation, New York City. The cost per click, that's going to be, don't worry about that. We're focused on free, not paid. So cost per click is good because it signals buyer intent. So if you see a high price, that actually does indicate that people are paying for this. So it's valuable. So it's a nice reference, but otherwise not applicable to what we're doing. Paid difficulty, don't worry about that. SEO difficulty is the big one, right? So the higher the number, the more difficult it's going to be. But basically you want to choose your keywords around business valuation, business for sale, and buy a business, maybe estate planning if you're pushing that right now. But you want to pick your keywords and really look for something like with volume. I don't know what's going on here with my internet. This is taking a very long time. So maybe I'll just say something. It's kind of a no-brainer. Sell a business, Miami. Let's try that one. See what we get. Generally speaking, volume, you're going to want. All right. So generally speaking, this tool is great right now for whatever reason. We're not getting the hits. So a little bit of egg in my face here, but this is Neil Patel. He's a very big SEO guy, if anybody knows that world. So give it a shot. Try Uber Suggest. You should be getting better results than what I'm getting. When you do it, set up a meeting with us and we can give you the general. We'll put out a follow-up video on this to help guide you through. But for volume, you typically want between 500 and 5,000, I think, monthly searches is a good bogey if you're a regional business broker. And for search difficulty, you want to really focus on what is going to be less difficult and going to have more volume and is going to be relevant to your end business owner, right? Buying a business, selling a business, business valuation. So that's my somewhat failed attempt here at running through an initial lesson on SEO. We'll put out a follow-up video on how to use Uber Suggest, but main takeaway, don't go spend thousands of dollars on SEO in today's environment unless you have everything else covered. Don't do it if you don't have a website. People who are selling, do SEO just on a landing page and then we'll run some Google ads. That's garbage. It's not going to work. And I'm happy to answer any questions as to why in the Q&A if people want to follow up on that. But I'm going to move on. BizNexus, everything with the profile. Let's save this for next week. We'll dig into that next week. So I'll throw that in there. And next week, we're planning on just talking about capture, right? We've been staying away from this phase, primarily because it hasn't been a great time for that with COVID and with everything else that has been going on. So next week, we're going to talk about processes like how to get your prospects off of LinkedIn and into email, and how to have a much more clear call to action. Claim your free business valuation, call for a free consultation, et cetera, et cetera. How to do that in a more direct manner across channels where it's more appropriate, like email, and how to incorporate webinars into this whole capture phase, which is something that's relatively new. Over the past few months, we've really seen webinars become an exceptional capture tool. And so if you're not taking advantage of that, I do think you need to, especially as a business intermediary focused on a geographic region. So that's the Q&A for now. I am going to just open it up for questions, and if not, as always, we'll close it out. Spent a lot of time on the SEO there, more than I'd planned, but these things are kind of improv week to week for the most part. We set a direction and we see how well we do. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to close it out unless I get some questions in the next 30 seconds. As always, you get the link for the review after the Lunch and Learn. So please fill that out. Give us any guidance so we can continue to make this valuable. Going to the BN.Digital site. If you want to get access to our past Lunch and Learns, we have put those on the main page free. This internet is killing me. Under resources, you can see training in the drop down, and just go to that and you'll be able to see all of the past Lunch and Learns. We'll throw some other training in there. I'll throw a video on the Uber Suggest because of that fail today. But you can go through and see all of the past Lunch and Learns on this page. If you have admins running some of your program for you, I suggest you have them look through this as well. And that's it. So take care. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks.